Hey everyone, the purpose of this video is to help you as parents help your child with their science fair project that they will be doing at their school. Now I know a lot of grades, some grades are going to be required to do a science fair project and some are going to be optional, and so this is a way for you, the parent, to help your child, and it's okay to help your child do a science fair project. So I want to give you a few tips, some rules with the science fair and what to do and what not to do with the science fair project. So I'll do this very quickly. There are videos also that I've created to help go through the step-by-step process. That is not a part of this video. That's another video that if you wish, you can contact the school if you want to request those videos so that you can see them. The students are actually, or have been, going through the videos and as a part of the class project so that they know the steps and understand what an example project might look like. But this video is for you, parent, who's going to be helping the child, helping your child do a science fair project at home. So I'm going to quickly go through a few things that you may need to know when helping your child with a science fair project. The first thing is that when your child completes the science fair project, there's some science fair categories, and each of these, there's 6 categories, and on the day of the science fair, each child's project will be placed on a table that will have these categories organized, and the projects will all be organized based on these categories. It's okay if you don't know which category. You can try to do a pretty good guess if you want to, but there will be science fair coordinators at the school that will try to correctly place the projects in the correct category. And the way the science fair works is that there will be 3 winners from each category, and you can kind of see the categories here: behavioral social science, biology, chemistry, general science, math and computer science, and then physics. So there'll be 3 winners, a first, second, third place, and those winners will go on to a regional science fair, which is almost like the whole upstate region of South Carolina that they'll go to if they place, and they can have another chance to place and win awards there. And so these are 6 categories that your child can choose from. And I'll give you a little hint. For the past 5 years doing science fair, math and computer science is a very low category, although each category or each project is going to have some type of math or should have some type of math in it. But these projects, the math and computer science, have a strong focus on things like computers, things like if they're writing code for computer programming, or if they're focusing on math. Is those categories, or is that category that doesn't really have a lot of people participating. A lot of general science, a lot of physics. I think there's a lot of also behavioral and social science. So there's a lot of those type of projects, but not a lot of math and computer science. So that's a little tip if you want to kind of push your child in that direction. I'm also give you a sneak peek at the judges' scorecard. And so I'll give you a little quick peek at what that might look like. So this is an example of a scorecard. This is what's going to be used for at the school level. The one at the regional level is a little bit more specific, especially this first category where it says key components. This key components category is the scientific method, which I very clearly outlined in my other instructional videos if you want to get a peek at those. At the very top it has project numbers. One of the things that the science fair wants to do is to make sure that there are no key identifiers on the project board, so you don't put your child's name directly on the board, because the science fair judges, who are outside individuals that come in, businesses or other science teachers at maybe a high school, they may know your child, and so, but we don't want them to know that that project is your child's, and so there's no names, no pictures of them on the board. And so each project will have a project number, which will be given by the project or the science fair coordinator at the school to place on the board, and then place, of course, in the category. And so when the judges are going around, they won't see names, or shouldn't see names, but the names will be on the back of the board on a form, just to kind of give you a little information about how that works. And so on the back of the board, it'll be this child's name, teacher, grade level, parent contact information, because for the science fair awards night, if they do place, we will make sure you get a phone call, and if you're able to attend the awards night, we'll call and make sure that you and your child are there to receive their award. And then the next category is thorough. So the key components, let's go back to that one, is 50 points. That's a lot of points. That's half of the total 100 points that a student can earn on the science fair project. That means they have gone through each step of the scientific process, and it's very clear that they see it. It's labeled on their board. The judge can see the steps of how they went. The next one is thoroughness and clarity, and it says, does the project tell a complete story and explain what the student learned? That's typically a part of, as you're looking at the scientific method, but in the conclusion, does the student write about what they learned? Do they tell some information through their research and through the experiment, things that they learned? That's what the judges are looking for. The next one is concepts, ideas, and principles. Are these clearly developed, explained? Are these appropriate for students' grade level? So if a student project, of course, this is elementary, first grade through fifth grade, would this project be middle school or high school level? Does it seem like this is a little bit too advanced? If it is, they might not get these points. Or maybe if it's too basic, maybe the project is a little too easy. We want to look at it from a concept. Is it appropriate for the grade level? And and of course, are the ideas clear? Are they clearly developed and explained? And so the science fair judges, when they're going around, they're not really having to ask themselves a lot of questions. There's no presentation portion of the science fair. If you remember back when you were a child and doing a science fair project, having to stand there and explain, the students are not going to be there to explain anything. It's just going to be on the board. And so that's why it's important that the thoughts are clearly explained directly on the board. And then the last part is 10 points. It's creativity. Does the project show original thinking or a unique approach? Is it attractive and neatly done? And so there's a lot of projects out there, and of course this may or most likely will be the child's first project, and so there may be a lot of ones on popcorn, which popcorn pops the best. That's a very basic, very commonly used one. Wouldn't be considered original or unique. But if there's a way that you could do it differently, if your child really wants to do popcorn, is there a different way to look at using popcorn? Because of course judge science fairs all the time. They see that popcorn project or a paper towel project, which paper towel is most absorbent. They see that a lot, and they kind of don't really give a lot of points for creativity. Again, it's only 10 points though. And of course, is it attractive and neatly done? This is the aesthetic value of the board. Is it neatly written? Is it neatly typed? How is it done? Is it easily able to be read, and is it attractive? And so this is just a little glimpse of what the judges will be using at the school science fair site and be judging your science fair project. This next portion are the rules and some tips for what you shouldn't put on a board. And so this is the regional science fair rules, and so we will try to keep them pretty close to the same. Even if it's at the school level, we want to make sure that certain boards or the boards don't have certain things on it. So the first one that you see here is no live plants, live animals, anything living doesn't need to be on the board. Again, going back to the way you and I may have done a science fair project, nothing comes with the board. It is just the board. There's nothing displayed. There's no materials. But it's very much okay to take pictures of materials and put it on the board as a decoration, but as also as a part of that storytelling process for the science fair project. Next part's kind of gross, but as you read it, no human or body parts, no teeth or hair. Doesn't need to have anything on there. Again, you can put pictures on there that can represent if that's a part of your science fair project. No food, definitely no food. Don't, if it's a candy type project, don't put candy glued to the project. Of course, some of these science fair boards may stay in storage for a little bit at the school, and so we don't want anything that is living that might be in the school, bugs or whatever, to be attracted to the board. And so we don't want anything that or any kind of sticky mess. So nothing glued, no food, candy, or anything on the board. And here's some other things that you can read. Of course, if you want the paper version of this, this may come home with your child. If it doesn't, please contact the school and request it. But these are some other no's that you don't need to have on the board, or definitely not with the board. Nothing comes with the board. Again, just the board. So these are some things too. I'm going to focus on number 9 here. I talked about it a little bit earlier. No portrait photographs. Don't have the child's face on the board. You can have maybe the back of their head or maybe their hands doing part of the project, but you don't want to show anything that identifies the child to a science fair judge, because we don't want there to be any unfair rulings. Although we trust our science fair judges, but you definitely want to make sure that it's fair, that the science fair judges are judging the project and not who did the project. So no names on the project, no photos on the project. The name will be on the back of the board. Here's some more no's that you can kind of read if you want to. Number 12 is 1, 2, no product logos. Again, if you're doing the popcorn or paper towel, I know you typically look at brands, but if you want to do brand A versus brand B and brand C, that would keep you from using logos or brand names, as you see in number 12. And there's some other things to put on there. And then there's some rules. Society4Science.org gets a rule page if you want to look at that too. So I hope this answers a lot of questions and kind of gives you some information that will help you as to what a science fair is kind of like, especially if you've never done one before or haven't done one in a long time. If you have any questions, feel free to contact the school, and they can get you in touch with me, and I can help you with any information as needed. So I hope you have a good and the science fair project with your child, and hopefully can't wait to see some of these projects that come in.